right, kids, here we are. It's not quite January yet, but we decided to squeeze another one in, and apparently I've been informed that we missed out on a golden opportunity with our Christmas specials, so I have no idea what it is we're about to see.
Well, get ready, kids, because here it comes.
But apparently this one tops all the rest that we've seen in Jesus Christ. Are you seeing this shit? What?
It's Christmasopolis.
Snowmen every fucking where. What the fuck is this? Oh my god.
I told you. I fucking told you.
And a moose, and manger scene, and Santa in a fucking camper.
Well, I tell you what, we'll come back around so we can get a better look at it.
Yeah. We gotta see that sick shit again.
Yeah. So let me swing
So,
around
quick
here.
camera cut here. Alright, we're coming back around to take a second look at this shit. And here, I'm gonna pass this thing off so you can get a better shot.
Yeah, this is my old stomping ground. Well, this is my stomping grounds of Calvin, Pennsylvania. And
What the fuck?
yeah, we got Christmas lights every
I didn't even
fucking
see
where.
that thing. Holy hell. That candy canes, polar bears, there's a fucking tree and a bridge and a star and a nutcracker and what the fuck? They have this shit on the fucking street sign, the stop sign, and on the fucking guardrail.
Yeah.
They decorated the fucking guardrail.
Well, we're gonna come right back and we're gonna swing right around so you can see the fucking guardrail. So here,
Yeah.
I'll hand it off to Nate. This is my old my stomping grounds. This is where I grew up at.
The fucking guardrail.
Yeah.
Who?
I watched him put them up. I was driving by. He was putting them up, drinking a beer.
I would not be the least bit surprised. That looks like you'd have to be drunk to come up with that.
Yeah. So here we go.
get right the fucking guardrail.
And the light pole and the telephone pole.
And the fucking stop sign and every shit.
Yeah. There's the fucking guide rail. And the stop sign.
I thought it was just this little bit. No, it's the whole fucking way up.
Yep.
Like there's where it starts, and then it goes up and around, and the whole way down that fucking way.
Yeah.
Some bitch. It's up the fucking telephone pole. It's on the freaking wire that holds it steady.
It's on the other telephone pole. On their carport, their other telephone pole. This telephone pole. Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't do this guide rail.
Maybe he ran out of lights.
Well, Walmart's only a few miles down the road.
Oh my god. Okay, that definitely beats all the rest of them.
Yeah.
Huh. I just don't even know anymore. Well, I don't think the rest of this trip is going to be just about Christmas lights.
Nope.
But we had to see that. I had to see that because
Yep.
I didn't know what to expect.
Was I lying?
Oh my god.
Was I fucking lying?
Fuck no.
Well, just one little, we'll make a little left here and yeah.
Alright, one more.
Like right over there. That's my neighbor's house.
Okay.
My other neighbor's house. Figure right.
Yeah, got that one.
I don't know if anybody else put any up this way, but we're gonna find the hell out.
Right.
Yeah, this is my neighborhood. This is where I grew up at.
Oh, they have a Christmas tree up in that house. And this house here has a few lights.
Yeah. New house. It's been up a couple of years.
Yeah.
This is just a dead-end road, so, you know.
Yeah, this doesn't go anywhere.
No. That place is for sale if you want to buy it.
I'm good.
No fucking thanks.
So yeah, this is the end of the road here, basically.
Yep, it is. Here we are.
I mean, there is a driveway there, but that's about it. So yeah.
This is my stomping grounds. Well, they got some up.
A little bit.
On their back porch.
Yep, more back porches.
They had lights on the other night, but they must turn them off, so.
Yeah, they just have the tree up and on right now. Alright, well, there we go. There were some bonus lights, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
So,
we're passing my parents' house,
yeah.
which they probably have no idea we're driving by.
Hell no. Well, they'll know soon enough.
Yeah.
They've seen pretty much everything we've ever made.
Yep.
So I think when we think of some actual shit to talk about this time around, we'll be back.
Yep.
Alright, we're moving again. And apparently we're about to explore Sugar Grove Road. A road that, honestly, I don't think I've ever been on before. I've driven past it every day for the past few years, but I've never taken it. So guess what we're gonna do? But anyway, getting on to tonight's subject that I just now made up. I'm gonna tell some stories about shit that happened to me over the years when I was at school. You know, these could range anywhere from kindergarten to my senior year in high school. And I'm gonna start with the one I was just telling these guys. I think it was my senior year. I'm pretty sure it was, because I remember I had taken a science class that year because I failed chemistry the year before and I needed the science credits to graduate. And it was just like a generic science class. Wasn't anything special about it. I think it was like physical science or something like that. I don't remember. I just remember it was easy as shit. Getting back on point. We just drove past the sand plant, as it's known around here. I forget what the exact
US
name.
Silica.
US Silica, something like that. It's a sand plant for like making glass and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's not like beach sand.
No.
It's a different kind of sand like they used to make like window glass and shit like that. But anyway, that year we took a field trip there and I got to take a tour of the sand plant. And, you know, they showed us around the sand plant what all the different equipment does, showed us, you know, how it goes up the chute and gets down into the trucks and how the trucks go across the scales. And they took us up in where they actually, you know, get the sand from the quarry and where their blast zones are and shit. It was an interesting tour, you know, for basically staring at sand.
Yeah.
It's as interesting as sand could possibly be. But the one part about this that I didn't tell these guys that I wanted to say for this video was the one little movie that they showed us before the tour actually started. And I loved how they got around this. Apparently someone made this video for them in like iMovie or some shit. And they said legally we're not allowed to show this because the music is copyrighted and there was a lawsuit and blah 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 blah, but they showed it to us anyway. Someone made a cover of, I forget which, I think it was like In the Navy by the Village People.
Oh, Jesus.
About a guy, like a superhero that they call the Sandman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even going to try and tell you how it goes, but basically it was an explanation of the process of getting silica sand set to a Village People song, and this little cartoon superhero with the company's logo on his chest flying around on the screen, and it was the most bizarre thing that I had seen in my life to that point. I've seen some weird shit in my life, but up to that point, that topped them all. So yeah. Now, quite frankly, I don't know if they still do that, because that was, 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. At the very least. Actually, probably closer to 9 years ago by now.
Yeah, it'll be 9 years with you.
Damn near, but yeah. Yeah. That was the sand plant. So that was one experience. Now, I was telling Kyle about this the other night when we were, doing shit. About how when I was in grade school, I, believe it or not, was one of the smart kids. I know what you're all thinking. Get out of the comments section right now. Yes, there was a point in my life when I was actually smart.
You are smart, you dumb shit.
Look, it's my fucking story. I'll tell it the way I want. But anyway, okay, there was a point in my life when I was smart enough to do shit that would actually be on Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? I'll put it that way. But anyway, and I was in like this gifted kids program, like where they would take us to this room at the lower level of the school, and we would do activities and stuff for basically brain exercises, like to give us more of a challenge.
Yeah.
And every year, I was in this program from 2nd grade through 6th grade. Every year, from 2nd grade to 5th grade, we would go to the Museum of Scientific Discovery in Strawberry Square in Harrisburg. Now, it's no longer there, so if you looked it up, you're never going to find it because it's not there anymore.
Right.
Because that last year that we were there was its last year in service, and we just drove by a cop.
Cool.
But anyway, there was some cool shit there. And we'd go there every year. And they had a lot of different things in there. They had a flight simulator, which was kind of neat. It was built like a cockpit of an airplane, and you could get in there, and there would be a person standing there telling you what to do, but you could get in there, and basically it was a flight simulator. They had this machine that talked and would tell you how tall you were. It scanned you with a laser and tell you your exact height. Huh. That was kind of neat. There was a periscope, because this place was on the basement level of this building, and you could look through this periscope up to the street and check out people walking down the sidewalk.
Cool.
Absolutely cool. And this is all just the stuff on the first floor I'm talking about. This place had 2 levels.
Damn.
There was the downstairs part was mostly just like the gift shop, and then it had these few things that I'm talking about now. Then there was the 2nd floor, which was the cool floor. When you first got to the top of the steps, there was these computers and stuff with little educational modules on them. Mm-hmm. Not the most fascinating thing in the world. And, the fact that, we were the little brats who eventually became the class of 2006. We would fuck with those computers to the point where they would quit working.
Oh, shit.
Oh, of course, we were brats back then.
Yeah.
But other shit that they had upstairs, they had what were called the whisper dishes. And if you don't know what a whisper dish is, there were these big domes up on their side at each end of the room. They looked like satellite dishes, but they weren't. And they had a little ring mounted right in front of them that you were supposed to stand in front of and whisper into. And the person clean across the room could hear you, and everybody in between. Because it basically demonstrated acoustics.
Huh.
And it was cool as shit. And there was other stuff up there. Another thing that we always loved doing, it was called the shadow box. Now, to this day, I don't know how this worked, but it was awesome as hell. You would stand in front of this white, plexiglass wall. Mm-hmm. This series of bright lights would flash, and then after it was done, you'd turn around and your shadow was frozen on the wall.
Cool.
Absolutely cool. We get in all sorts of weird poses, make it look like we were fucking each other in the ass or, shoving our fist up someone's ass or something like that, We were bratty ass kids.
Being dickheads.
Right. And if you paid like $4, you got to keep a printout of your shadow box, and none of us had the balls to pay for any of these weird poses that we would do.
Yeah.
But if we wanted to, we could have.
Yeah.
Getting back on track, every year they would have some sort of presentation at the end before we all went down to the gift shop and blew all of our parents' money. And I'll get to that later. But and each year they would talk about something different. Like one year they talked about like polymers, like stretchy shit and stuff like that, and how you make like elastic and different shit like that. And one year they talked about hair and how it grows and how strong hair actually is and stuff like that. One year they talked about like the digestive system, and they showed these models of like a large intestine, and they had this big guy that was like, he was basically like an oversized stuffed person.
Yeah.
And they pulled out this long ass intestine thing, and then they showed how the small intestine, even though it's actually longer, is smaller around, and they showed what, different shapes your stomach can contort into and shit like that. And they showed some really neat shit there. Not gonna lie, it was, for an educational place, it was pretty cool. One year they had the name of it escapes me, but that big dome that you stick your hand on and it makes your hair stand up on it, and one of them things.
Yeah.
So what's that called? Like a Van der Graaf generator?
So,
something like that. Google that shit. This is not an educational show. You want to know what it's called? Look it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty cool. That was a thing. And the last year we went there was when I was in 5th grade, and we actually almost didn't even get to go. These people like literally stayed open an extra day just so we could come in. Like they were getting ready to close whenever we went there. Like they were getting ready to pack up and move to their new location. But they knew that we were coming, so they stayed open long enough for us to show up.
Wow.
Yeah, we were the last people that ever got to see that place at that location. I don't remember where they moved to. I want to say it was somewhere in Lancaster or somewhere like that. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. I don't even know if it's still in the place that it moved to. I have no idea. I don't even know what's in that particular place now, like where the museum used to be, because I haven't been to Harrisburg since, which tells you how fucking long ago that was.
Yeah.
But
I've only driven through Harrisburg a couple times, and I never want to do it again.
Yeah.
That is not a place you want to travel.
But
unless if you know where the hell you're going.
But yeah, like we actually, Strawberry Square was not that far from the Pennsylvania Capitol building.
Huh.
Like that was actually where they dropped us off. We could walk from, the Capitol there in Harrisburg to Strawberry Square. And that was awesome as shit to do every year. And sticking on the subject of this program that I was in, the very last year that I was in it, my 6th grade year, they were moving some of the classrooms around. And we used to have the very first room on the bottom floor. Well, they had decided to put in another 1st grade class on that floor.
Yeah.
So they took what used to be... Well, let me back up a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself. See, at one point in time, the school I went to was built in 1924, and it was remodeled in the 70s. And there was a huge gym that was below ground. And there were locker rooms. Now, when I went there, the elementary school didn't have any sports teams by that point anymore. So the locker rooms were literally useless. But, there was a boys' locker room and a girls' locker room, and I forget what they turned the boys' locker room into, but they turned the girls' locker room into our new classroom. So yeah, we literally used the girls' locker room that last year I was there. Like, they converted the shower into a closet. the shower heads and shit were still in it.
Wow.
They were no longer functional, but they were still there. Like, they ripped out all the stalls and all that stuff, but they left the sink in for us so we could use it for, like, science experiments and shit like that. Like, so we didn't have to run down the hall to the bathroom or something. And believe it or not, even though this room that they fixed up for us was a lot smaller, we actually liked it better because it was just our weird little hangout.
Yeah.
And yeah, that last year was actually kind of a fun year. We didn't go anywhere that year because Strawberry Square was closed, but we had a lot of fun. We did a lot of different experiments. And this is another thing I was talking about the other night. One experiment that we did, we had Apple Day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't mean Apple like iPod, iPad. No, I mean like the actual fruit. Yes, yes, you youngins, Apple actually is a food. It's not just something that you carry around and drop in the toilet and have mom buy you a new one. It is something you can eat. That's where the name comes from. But anyway, among the things we did like taste tests of different types of applesauce, different apple flavored stuff. But my favorite part of the whole thing was we did a preservative test. And we tested like 16 or so, maybe it was 20, I don't remember. It was a shit ton of ways of how to potentially preserve a slice of apple.
Yeah.
So we cut up a bunch of apple slices and put them on this board with different methods. Like one was like sugar, one was salt, like one was like an actual like fruit preservative product that you can buy off the shelf. Bunch of shit. And that was pretty neat. And true honest to God story, you know, I used to be part of a group of people. We used to play our version of different game shows in a chat room. We don't do that anymore. Well, I don't do that anymore. Some of these people might still do it somewhere, but the place where we did it's not up and running anymore. Getting off track. One of the guys I met through this, I'll put it that way. He used to be part of my New Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. I haven't talked to this guy in a couple of years because he just kind of dropped off the face of the earth. But anyway, he was looking for an experiment to do for some science class or some shit that he was in, so I told him about this apple experiment. And mind you, this was years after the fact, but I still remembered it. So I told him how to do it, and it was kind of a scaled down version. I just gave him like 3 different things to try, and he did it. So, you know, a lot of that stuff that I learned back then has kind of stuck with me. One we did, I forget what year it was. We walked all around town and looked at different stuff that had to do with fall. I think I might have been in like 2nd or 3rd grade.
1968?
42. Fuck that shit. But anyway, no, seriously, we went around and I guess the point was to explain to us why leaves change and shit like that.
Yeah.
Whatever. So that was kind of neat. Another thing that we got to do was we got to see the inner workings of how places like the local grocery store worked. And we even got another place we went was we got to be taken back in and learn how McDonald's works.
Yeah.
We got into the kitchen and everything was explained to us. We got shown the freezers and all that stuff. It was very fascinating. You know, mind you, this was back in the 90s.
Yeah.
You know.
Not the 60s or the 40s like we just mentioned.
No. But it was
that old.
I don't know if McDonald's would let people do that these days or not. Like, let a class come in and just go in and see how their inner workings work. I don't know if they do that or not, but
I have not a clue.
We got to do that, and that was pretty damn cool. Because the McDonald's in our town was built not long before we did this. It's only been there since like the mid-90s.
Yeah.
And not long after it was built and opened up to the public, we got to go in and do this. And I don't know if this is some top secret McDonald's thing or not, that they just tell people is a load of bullshit, because I know it's a load of bullshit, but I'm going to tell it here anyway. The lady that gave us this, I guess you would call it a tour, it wasn't much of a tour, but she told this bullshit story about how McDonald's got its name. Now, if you know the real story, this is going to make a little bit more sense. If you don't know the story, I'm not going to bother to tell it. Again, that's what Google's for. That, you know, this is not
educational at all.
You're not going to learn anything from us. But anyway, the story that she told, and I called this one out on bullshit like almost immediately. Like I could tell, like as she was telling it, it was made up. I didn't say anything at the time, but anywho, her story was it was way back in whatever year it was. She said, I don't remember. Doesn't matter. She said that it's according to her, contrary to popular belief, it was not named after someone named McDonald. Her story was, it was a guy named Mac and another guy named Donald. And they had this idea. I think one of them came up with like the hamburger recipe and the other came up with the French fry recipe, and they worked together, and that's how McDonald's started, or something like that. Isn't that the most bullshit thing you ever heard in your life?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But that was the story that she told. And I don't know if that's something that McDonald's tells kids, you know, just to fuck with them or what it is, but that, I honestly think that lady was just stupid. So yeah. Getting slightly off subject, well, our topic tonight, I'll put it that way, since we're on the subject of McDonald's. At the McDonald's near where we live, and my dad will tell you about this.
Oh, jeez.
Because he and I both made fun of this. There was this big fat lady that worked at the drive-thru who was grumpy and loud. She talked to you like as if you were 17 miles away, and she never smiled. You know, she was always like in a pissy mood. Like, she'd open up, like, at the time, like, this McDonald's was like ghetto and didn't even have a speaker. You actually had to pull up to the window and order
your food.
You know, they have a speaker now, they didn't back then. Like, she'd open up the window, can I take your order? It's like, I don't know, can you? But yeah, holy shit, we're on 26 now.
Yeah.
Well, now we know where that road goes. Well, I'll be damned. All right, but yeah, just a little side story there. And this lady, I mean, she was fucking fat. Like, more chins than a Chinese phone book. You know.
I'll let these idiots go.
She was loud and grumpy, and my dad, every time he would run to McDonald's to get his food or something, he would come back and tell us that whether or not he had that lady. Yeah. She must have quit working there or died of a heart attack or something, because I haven't seen her in years. She might have ate herself to death, I don't know. Might have just started gnawing on her foot and just didn't stop. I don't know. Wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. So anyway, getting back on the subject of, you know, school day stuff.
Yeah.
Another thing that happened to me, and I very distinctly remember this. I was in 3rd grade, and it was my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
What year would that have been?
93?
No.
No?
93 was when I was in kindergarten.
All right, so it would have been 96.
96, yeah. That sounds, no. Wait a minute. I started kindergarten in 93 to 94. So, 1st grade would have been 94, 95. Yeah, it would have been 96. Okay.
I may be dumb with math, but I can figure that out.
I'm worse with math, trust me. Anyway, it would have been back in 96. It was my birthday that day. And I'm not going to say what the teacher's name was, but I will say to this day I still think he's an asshole. But anyway, this ties into me being in this gifted program.
Okay.
I had just come back from my morning session with that. They were just getting ready to start math that day. He says to me, go up to the board and write this number down. And me being the dumbass that I was back then for stuff like this, I didn't catch on what was happening because everybody was suspiciously quiet. Way too quiet for a bunch of third graders.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm thinking, okay, sure, I'll do that. I like to show off because I'm Mr. Smart Guy.
Yeah.
I wrote the number down, and all he says is get him, and everybody piles on me.
What was the number?
1, 2, 3.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this one.
Oh shit, another bonus set of lights. Holy fuck. Wow. But yeah, talk about a traumatic experience. Like, I was like seriously freaking the fuck out. Because here's a little something a lot of you don't know about me. I kind of have a bit of a people phobia. I don't like being in large crowds or around more than like a few people that I know really well. You know, like, I don't like being in large groups at all. That's just... And part of that might even stem from this. It's a distinct possibility.
Good.
But, yeah, just everybody piled on me. They're, like, pulling on me, thumping on me, kicking, tearing, ripping at me. I think I punched one kid directly in the face, trying to get out from under this pile. So, yeah, that was not a pleasant experience at all. But that's just the kind of asshole that this guy was. And back then I was very socially awkward, I guess would be the word for it. You know, I didn't have a lot of, you know, social skills, you know. And he would pick at me all the time for different little things that I would do or say just because of how awkward I was. You know, and that always rubbed me the wrong way. So yeah, that's really all I need to say about that. That was just not a fun experience for me at all. Trying to think of some other shit that happened to me. Well, skipping ahead 2 years to 5th grade. You know who he was that I had for 5th grade. Because you had your run-ins with this guy too. This is another guy that was kind of a dick. I just remember, you know, all I was trying to do one time, this is getting back to me being in this program that I was in. I think what had happened was, and my memory's a little hazy on this, I think I missed like one assignment one day. I forget if I was sick the day before, or I just forgot to write it down, or something like that. And we were doing this thing for this program about the Middle Ages. It was right around Christmas time, if I remember correctly. Because we were doing a little performance to the tune of 12 Days of Christmas, but it was about the Middle Ages, and I was one of the characters in this. I was dressed up to represent I forget what part mine was now, but anyway, he would not let me go be in this, because they were holding it during recess for half of the school, and then during lunch for the other half, because the way our school was set up, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade went to lunch first, while the rest of the school was at recess, and then they switched. And what I would have done was, during recess, I would have been and done my part during that lunch period. Well, he would not let me go do it. So I had to sit there, and I could hear them downstairs going on without me. And when I finally made it for the second one, they're all pissed off at me because I didn't show up, and I got to tell them, hey, he wouldn't let me go. You know, wasn't my fault. So yeah, that kind of...
What was his excuse for not letting you go?
Because I didn't have that one assignment done.
Really?
Yeah. I don't even remember why I didn't have it done. But anyway, eventually I was in the second one that day, and, you know, it was kind of fun. One of the few times I actually performed with a group of people. It's not something I typically did, especially at that age. But yeah, you remember that guy, and you remember what an asshole he was.
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
Like this dickhead right in front of us. Just had to
Right.
pull out in front of us.
Right. Well, another incident that happened this same year with this same guy. Apparently, they were going to have a Jeopardy tournament among the different grade levels. Like, each grade was going to have a little Jeopardy tournament. And he asked me if I wanted to be in our class's team, and I really didn't want to.
Yeah.
And he got all pissy because I didn't want to. He gives me this long-winded speech about how he was going down through this list. Camera fucked up. He was going down through this long list of people, and he was giving me this long speech about how he picked out who he thought was the best of the best, and the ones that he thought did the best at it. And he was giving me a hard time all because I didn't want to do it. And I kept trying to explain to him that I didn't really feel comfortable being in a competition and put on the spot like that. Because, again, I was kind of awkward back then.
Yeah.
Well, finally, you know, he just kind of came down off of it and picked someone else. But he had me feeling so bad about it. Like, he really ran me down for that. So I finally just came back around to him and told him I'd do it anyway. Well, then he got all pissy with me for that.
Are you serious?
Yes. He got all pissy with me for that. And then this other kid that he got to take my place, he started to bawl.
Oh.
Well, he was a whiny little bitch anyway, and I'm not going to mention his name or anything, but I'll tell you who it is when we're done recording. You might have heard of him. But anyway, for the sake of not starting any shit, I'm not going to say who it was.
Right.
But,
Ball baby pissy pants he is.
he was back then. Quite frankly, I don't know whatever became of him, but he was back then. But anyway, yeah, so I ended up doing this thing anyway. I wasn't real excited about it. I don't even remember who won. Can't remember if we did or the other teams did or who did. I don't know. Don't know.
Don't care.
Don't care.
Don't want to care, don't need to care, don't need to want to care.
Right. Now I'm going to skip ahead to junior high a little bit.
Oh, fuck.
This was the last time I was involved in this program to the capacity I was in grade school, because they couldn't really get anybody to do it after this, but getting ahead of myself. We had a science teacher who taught the 7th grade science, and he at the time was in charge of this. And we did this project that I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
It never got anywhere, but it was really cool. What we did was we went around the school property. Now, for those of you who aren't country folk, let me explain this a little bit. People who raise cows put tags on their ears with a number on them so they can keep track of them. I'm sure if you do a search, you can see what I'm talking about. We took a bunch of those tags around the school's property and attached them to trees.
Yeah.
And made a log of the different types of trees. We had about 30 different types or so, 20 or 30, I don't remember the exact number, but we made a log of all these different trees.
Yeah.
Wrote them down in a notebook. We spent all day doing this stuff. And I guess the original intent was that we were going to keep this list so that way whenever future classes would want to say do the Leaf Project, and I've told stories about that before.
Yes.
This is the same guy.
Yes.
This is the same guy I'm talking about. Yeah, and if you saw that video, you already know what happened to me with that project.
Yep.
Getting ahead of myself. Well, nothing ever came of this, because by that point the school had lost interest in this program, and then we just kind of stopped meeting up. And eventually they went around and ripped all the tags that we spent all day putting on trees. Like, somebody went around and tore them all off. But yeah. I still remember that, though, and that was a fun day. So yeah. And, the last time I did anything really involved with this program in its original form, the way I knew it then.
That's it. Fuck the camera up.
It was my 8th grade year. And at the time, he was a new teacher. He taught math. And we did this. Well, I mentioned about the Jeopardy tournament in 5th grade. In 8th grade, toward the end of the year, we got this idea, because at the time, it had just gone off the air, and it was still a big thing with people. We did our own version of The Weakest Link. And in hindsight, the way we did it probably wasn't the best way to do it, because it made the outcome pretty predictable. But we did this, and it was a lot of fun. What we did was we kind of followed the syndicated versions format, and basically that just meant we used 6 players instead of 8. But we went around and asked teachers from the different grade levels to pick out 6 students that they thought would be suitable to compete in this tournament, in each grade level. And so all day, for the first 6 periods of the day, first period we did 7th grade, second period, 8th grade, and so on. We did these little private preliminary rounds where we would play the game the whole way through with 6 students from that grade level. So we got the winner from each grade, and we called everybody to the auditorium for the final round. And we had the student that had won from each grade as a contestant. And we had a little prize package. It was like a graphing calculator, like a notebook and some pens or something like that. We had a little prize package made up. And whoever won this tournament got the prize package. So I was the host of this whole thing. Mind you, at the time I was in 8th grade, but I was the host of this thing, and we had our copy of The Weakest Link home game that we just used pretty much to play the game. So there I am up on the stage doing my thing, reading the questions, Even though we put students ranging from 7th grade to 12th grade all in the same competition, they all did pretty well. Because, the questions were random, I was literally just pulling them out of a box. And of course, then we would do the voting, and it pretty much went how you would expect it to go in that situation. The younger ones all disappeared first, and it was down to 11th grade and 12th grade. Well, the girl that was in 11th grade ended up winning the whole thing. But that was one of the coolest experiences I ever got to have. Being the host of this tournament. And surprisingly, I haven't done anything quite like that since. If given the opportunity to do something like that ever again, I totally would. Not gonna lie, I would do that again.
It'd be like hosting your own game show.
That's literally what I was doing.
Yeah.
But yeah. Then after that program got absorbed into another one that they called Directed Studies.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of the same thing, except this time it was actually for a grade. And it was, it wasn't daily, it was like every other day. But, none of us really particularly cared for the teacher that they assigned to that. Yeah, that one. You know who it was.
Yep.
And one thing about this guy that we always made fun of, not really so much to his face, but definitely behind his back, was the fact that if he didn't have a hairpiece, he sure as hell looked like he had a hairpiece.
He had a goddamn toupee.
Yeah.
Because I seen it off.
Yeah.
It was funny as hell.
Mm-hmm.
One kid actually had the balls to go rip it off his fucking head the one day.
Yeah.
It was fucking hilarious.
Well, anyway, we did different stuff with this class too, but the most memorable one, and we did several, but the most memorable was our trip to Gettysburg. Not because of all the landmarks and the battlefields and all that one. No. It was the ride home. We literally found a way to make a grown man cry. Because we all knew that he wore a hairpiece.
You guys ripped it off, didn't you?
No, we did not.
Made fun of it.
Just brace yourself for this.
Okay.
We sang one of the loudest renditions of Head and Shoulders, Knees and Toes the whole fucking way home.
Oh.
But here's the funny part. This guy, even though he wore a hairpiece, had the worst dandruff you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
So we were extra loud on the Head and Shoulders part and a little bit quieter on the rest of the song.
Oh.
By the time we got back to the school, he was literally bawling like a little bitch.
Wow.
One of the greatest moments in my life was that day when we finally gave him
The big fat fuck you.
the big fat fuck you. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, we're going to take a little detour. We'll come right back to you here in a few moments.
All right. All right, we're back. Had to make a little stop there for a minute, but I pretty much ran out of stories for tonight. But, you know, had to give this one a proper closing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was some of my experiences, you know, from my school days. Something I don't really think I talked about much in the past. At least not on camera.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't really think we were going to get another episode in for this year, but there you go.
Yeah, I had to do it before they were taken down, so...
Right.
Yeah, that had to be seen, so the whole world can fucking see.
Definitely.
That what my parents drive by every fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is pretty much it for this episode. Don't know if we'll get another one in this year or not. This one was kind of a surprise one. Just a quick channel update while I'm here. There will be more gaming videos this month. I just haven't had a chance to record any lately because working in retail as my day job eats up a lot of my time this time of year, and I just haven't had time to make anything.
Yeah.
So that's why there hasn't been a whole lot of content lately, but hopefully after the holidays it'll pick up again. But I do have something, at least one video planned for that for this month, so that I have that to look forward to. I'll probably do more Happy Wheels stuff, because I kind of enjoy doing that.
Yeah. That's kind of funny as hell to watch, and I haven't played it yet myself.
Then I think you should do the next one. As a matter of fact, I'm going to promise that right now. The next Happy Wheels video on this channel will be him.
Oh, shit.
That's right. So, episode 4 of Happy Wheels with Kyle. Look forward to that.
Oh.
So, that's it for tonight, kids. Like, subscribe, and all that happy horse shit. And we'll see you in the next one, whenever that may be.
Yep.
Bonus house.
Yeah.